I'd like to call this meeting of the Brooklyn City Council to order tonight. Mary Jo, will you call the order?
Stephen Coyle.
Here.
Andy Selhertz.
Here.
Matt Mosley.
Here.
Aaron Borowski.
Here.
Kevin Tansky.
Here.
Sue Grodick.
Here.
Kathy Pucci.
Absent excused. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. First on our agenda is adoption of the minutes from the February 26th meeting. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion approved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? I would just like to thank Mary Jo. We had some audio difficulties, so putting together the minutes in a timely fashion was a few extra hurdles for her this time. So thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll call the roll.
To approve the minutes, Stephen Coyle.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Matt Mosley.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes. And at this time, we will have the first public session. If anyone in the audience has anything to say pertaining to a legislative item on the agenda, please step forward, state your name and address, and you will be recognized. Please remember to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Seeing no one moving towards the microphone, we will move to reports of committees, commissions, and boards. First, we have Finance Committee. Mr. Selchertz will be giving the report tonight.
Finance Committee met this evening at 6 o'clock. We went over a couple items. We approved the minutes for February 12th and also February 26th. The one item that we did have under legislation is for new business. The Finance Committee approved and recommended for approval to the Committee of the Whole and to Council is Resolution 2024-3, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Simvay LLC to provide information technology professional services to the city of Brooklyn. The cost, there's no increase from the previous contract, and it was approved. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up is the Recreation Board with Councilman Tansky.
Brooklyn's Easter egg hunt will be held on Saturday, March 23rd. Check-in at 10:30 a.m. at the Senior Center. The egg hunt will start at 11 a.m. at Veterans Memorial Park. Raffle baskets and pictures with the Easter Bunny for ages 0 through 10 years old. Registration is required at www.brooklynrec.com. City of Brooklyn presents Magic Adventures Ice Show 2024 with 2 showings Friday, April 26th at 7 p.m. or Saturday, April 27th at 7 p.m. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased at, again, www.brooklynrec.com. Summer Day Camp, June 10th through July 5th at the Senior Center, July 8th, and July 8th through August 2nd at the elementary school. 7 a.m. till 5 p.m. Cost is $200 per week. Please contact Amanda Nadel at anatal@clevelandymca.org or call the payment register's office at 216-263-6860 for more information. Brooklyn Rec Baseball and Softball, ages 3 to 4 T-ball, ages 5 to 6 coach pitch. www.jumpstartsports.com. Ages 6 to 8 coach pitch baseball and softball. Registration is open and will run through March 31st. Resident fee $55, non-resident $65. Practices begin in May, games begin in June. Teams will travel to North Olmsted and Fairview Park for games. 10, 12, 14U baseball leagues, 10, 12, 15U softball leagues, ages 8 through 15 as of August 1st. Registration is open and runs through March 31st. Resident fee $70, non-resident $80. Practices begin in May, games begin in June. Teams will travel to Strongsville, Brook Park, North Olmsted, Olmsted Falls, Middleburg, Fairview Park for games. For complete details, visit www.brooklynrec.com. Brooklyn Youth Spring Soccer 2024, Marquardt Park, April 16th through May 21st, Tuesdays. Ages 3 to 4 Fridays, 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Ages 5 to 6 Fridays, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Ages 3 to 6 register online at www.jumpstartsports.com. Registration deadline is April 21st. The next Recreation Board meeting will be held on March 18th in the Rec Center Meeting Room at 7 p.m. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Domestic Abuse Commission from Councilman Borowski.
Thank you, Council Pro Tem. Good evening, fellow council members, mayor, residents of Brooklyn. The Domestic Abuse Commission met on February 28th at Panera on Tiedemann Road. Most of the commission was able to attend the meeting and hear some of the matters that were spoken on. As a commission, over this upcoming year, we are looking to break down different types of abuse and how they affect residents. We want to take a look at how COVID and the shutdowns led to an increase in abuses, including upticks in married and dating types of abuses, how the different apartment complexes around Brooklyn deal with abuse, tenant abuse, and how it affects the families, and most importantly, children living in those complexes. We are also interested in working with the school and the city on partnerships on promoting different types of aid to victims and abusers themselves so that they can get the help that they need. I'll be reaching out to the superintendent on ideas in the upcoming weeks for conversations with students if possible. And I believe that we have set that the meetings will be taking place the first Wednesday of the month. We'll be looking to expand our meetings to the library, local churches, and maybe even City Hall if possible. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up, we have the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Commission from Councilman Coyle.
Thank you. The Planning Commission met on Wednesday, February 28th to hear a request from Albert and Rice for a preliminary site plan approval for a 19,928 square foot building addition for Arrow at 9900 Clinton Road. The commission approved this request. And then the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting originally scheduled for Thursday, March 21st has been canceled due to a lack of applications. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the School Board Liaison. Councilman Mosley?
Thank you. The school board met on February 27th to conduct their scheduled meeting. At this meeting, Dr. Claris discussed the proposed bond issue, also known as Issue 21. This was a very similar presentation that was given at our last council meeting. The issue will generate $20 million geared towards high school renovations and some improvements to the Board of Education and Treasurer's office. There's also a plan to create community walking paths around Hurricane Alley. There will be a virtual information session this Saturday, March 16th, if anyone would like to learn more. As always, you can contact a school board member or Dr. Claris directly with any questions regarding this issue. The board also approved the College Credit Plus partnership that gives high school students the opportunity to receive college credits while still in school. This is something that I highly, highly recommend. Post-secondary schooling is not cheap, and this will give the students a head start in their school and in their careers. The next board meeting will be March 19th at 6 p.m. in room 173. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. And the final report tonight is from the Committee of the Whole. The Committee of the Whole meets before council meetings at 6:15, and we considered the legislative items on the agenda. There was a very brief discussion about Ordinance 2023-40 enacting Chapter 157, Inclusion and Belonging Commission of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Brooklyn. We are expecting, that is on second reading tonight, and we are expecting a substitute ordinance before our next council meeting. We also discussed Ordinance 2024-4, which is on third reading and up for adoption, and the Committee of the Whole recommended to council to adopt. And under new business, there were two items. First was Resolution 2024-3, which is on first reading with a request for suspension and adoption tonight. And it is authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Simvey LLC to provide information, technology, professional services to the city of Brooklyn. And the Committee of the Whole recommended that for approval. Ordinance 2024-8 is on first reading tonight, so we'll talk about that more. And that was the end of our very short Committee of the Whole. Again, those are open to the public, and we meet at 6:15 before the council meetings. And that ends our reports of committees, commissions, and boards. So now we'll go to council reports. And first up will be Stephen Coyle tonight.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Coyle?
I'll be short and sweet. Just a reminder to exercise your right to vote on Tuesday, March 19th. The schools have their proposed facilities improvement bond issue on the ballot. School leadership has done a fantastic job prioritizing the very much needed building renovations, so I please ask that you consider voting yes. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Councilman Selchertz?
Thank you. Just as Mr. Coyle mentioned, the primary is next week. Please, if you can afford it, please support the school levy. I mean, it's an important part of this community as a whole. Buildings need to always be maintained and upgraded, and those buildings have been around for a while, so they definitely need some upgrading. Brooklyn High School's little music department and theatrical department will be putting on The Little Mermaid this coming Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's the 14th, 15th, and 16th. There are 2 shows on the 16th. Try to attend one of the performances. It's always a fun, good time just to see the students work at their craft, and a lot of them actually put a lot of time into it. There's some really good people in it. Welcome to Pastor Luis Viscarando and Refined Church. They have found a new building to call home thanks to a generous donation from the United Church of Christ in Brooklyn. As it is hard to see the family of United Church of Christ slowly dissolve and move away from their location in Brooklyn, it's no different than any home in your own neighborhood where you have an older couple with children who are now in their golden years, and it's now time to move on, and now a new family comes in with new children to grow and prosper. I'm sure Pastor Viscarando and Refined Church will honor and remember the legacy of the United Church of Christ. And the last thing I have is the bulbs planted by 2 members of the Laurel Garden Club last November, Mary Ellen Stasek and Barb Politsky. Well, they're starting to come up now over at the new memorials. Probably a little bit later, towards the end of April, May, we're going to try to start figuring out what to plant before Memorial Day weekend. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Mosley?
Thank you. Good evening. Brooklyn is once again sponsoring our home exterior maintenance program. Interested residents can apply starting this Wednesday, March 13th, through May 19th. This is an opportunity to receive up to $3,000 towards your project to improve your home. I'm grateful that the mayor and council approved the city's sponsorship so that we can help as many residents as possible. Late applications will not be accepted, so please apply as soon as you can. Visit the city's website, look under community news and announcements to learn how to apply. Not everybody that applies will get this. If you do not get this, another option is the Heritage Home Program, which in years past didn't really get much traction because interest rates were lower. Now that interest rates are higher in the 5%, 6%, 7%, I believe the Heritage Home Program is around 2%, 3%. So that's just another option. The Brooklyn Drama Department is presenting a rendition of The Little Mermaid. All this week there will be shows. March 14th, 15th, and 16th, there will be shows starting at 7 p.m. There's also an additional show at 2 p.m. on the 16th. On another note related to the schools, I know May seems a little bit far off, but it'll be here before you know it. On the 15th and 16th, Polaris Career Center is hosting a career expo and job fair at Cuyahoga County Fairgrounds. There is a family night between 5 and 7:30 on the 16th, and I am personally a proud graduate of Polaris Career Center. It's done great things for me in my career outside of city council, and I think that it's a great opportunity for the students to pursue something that isn't a four-year degree. Not everybody can afford that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Borowski?
Thank you, Council Pro Tem. Remember, March 19th is the election. When it comes to the school bond issue 21, if you feel as though financially that is something that you can support, please do, as well as issue 26. I'd like to welcome Refined Church to our community, as many of our residents already have. I wish them success in spreading the gospel and growing their membership. This past Saturday, I joined Councilman Kevin Kuzma from Parma, a councilwoman from Cleveland, in which I apologize, I did not catch her name, State Representative Sean Brennan as well, to hold discussions with the residents from the cities of Cleveland, Parma, and Brooklyn at our local library. The conversation was about apartment complexes currently ran by the same management group. The management group has been accused of improper handling of maintenance issues, health and sanitation issues, and unfair business practices. I'm working with the other officials to try to get a handle on what we can legally do. Our complex is Memorial Heights, which contacted me about setting up this meeting. So they had concerns, so I went to it. So I appreciate the fact that they were able to hold it. So that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Tansky?
Brooklyn City School District has placed
Mike. Sorry.
The Brooklyn City School District has placed a $20 million bond issue on the March ballot. If passed, the money will go towards constructing, adding, and renovating, remodeling, furnishing, and improving district buildings. After further review of this project, I will be supporting the passage of the bond issue. Also, councilmen have said, don't forget to get out and vote, either by mail or in person, March 19th. Lastly, have a happy St. Patrick's Day, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Ramadan Mubarak to our community's Muslim community families. Ramadan began today, and it is the holy month of fasting that marks the 9th month of the Islamic calendar and is observed by Muslims all over the world. Ramadan marks one of the most important observations in the Muslim community every year. During this period, the followers of the faith spend their time fasting, praying, and giving back to the community. I think many of us are familiar with the fasting part of it. Something that has taken me by surprise as I've learned more about it because of the Muslim families that live in Brooklyn and go to our schools. I didn't realize the importance of giving back to the community. I think that's something that we don't see as easily as we see the fasting, as we look at that as a great sacrifice that they're doing, but they don't feel that their fasting is a sacrifice, and they feel that giving back to their community is very important. So I just wish them a happy Ramadan. And I was really excited when I got home from work today to find this in my mailbox. So if you haven't gotten yours, we were talking about it up here before, and it seems to be mixed. Look in your mailbox for it. You know, I love technology just as much as anyone, and certainly my email address is filled with electronic newsletters, but it's still really nice to have a paper newsletter with our community events. So when you get this, put it in a safe place. It has lots of events that are coming up this spring, this summer. There's interesting and important information. There's more about the exterior home repair grant in here. There's updates about Community Shred Day. Our local, state, and county representatives have some comments in here. It's just a really, really nice newsletter, and it just looks really nice too. So congratulations. Thank you to the administration for keeping that coming to our newsletters. It is a cost, of course, but I think it is worth it. As it's been mentioned, yes, Election Day is March 19th. Early voting has already begun. I think during this primary season, some people hesitate to vote because you think you have to pull either a Republican or a Democrat ballot. If you want to vote for issues only, you can ask for an issue-only ballot, and you will find issue 21, the school bond issue, and issue 26, the renewal for health and human services. So don't let the fact that it's a primary keep you from voting. And that concludes my report this evening. And next, we have the mayor's report.
Thank you, Council Pro Tem, appreciate that. And kudos to my assistant, Ms. Ludwig. She's largely responsible for putting the newsletter together. She does an outstanding job with that, and Sue is right. There's a ton of great information in there, so I would encourage residents. I haven't got mine in the mail yet, but I got one early, so, that Joe gave to me. So please get a hold of that and read through it. If you have any questions, there's all kinds of information, ways you can reach out and get information about the events. This past Friday, I had the privilege of hosting the first coffee with the mayor of the new year. So it was good to have several dozen residents over at the senior center to discuss topics regarding what's going on in our city. Had some great dialogue with them about renovations at the park, renovations at the recreation center. Always a nice time to go to come out and to spend some time with some of our seniors. They're wonderful people. Want to say thank you to Mr. Abruzzi and our recreation staff for hosting the tournaments, the hockey tournaments the last several weekends with great success. Did a fantastic job. People love coming to our venue, to our recreation center for those events. Some updates of what's going on in the city. The last part of the city center project, the generator has been installed. It's the final testing and setup is complete. And so it was a long time waiting and coming, but it is here and it's installed. Our street construction project went out to bid a couple of weeks ago for Williamson and Bearwald. The lowest and best bid came back $264,000 under our estimated budget, which is a good thing. It's the same company that won the project for I-480 in Tiedemann, the turn lane project. That project was slated to begin sometime in mid-April. The architect for the natatorium upgrade, they have begun their design work, and we should have something in hand by month's end. The contractor that's installing the light poles at Memorial One has their final setup this week, and those poles should be installed by the end of this week. The I-480 and Tiedemann landscaping project will begin here shortly, and their work at the other two quadrants up at I-480 and Tiedemann will be done by midsummer. On Southwood, I'm pleased to announce that we applied for and have been accepted for $150,000 for the CDBG grant from the county. That project will be advertised and bid out in April, and then that project will go throughout most of the construction season. As far as the renovations on Veteran Memorial 1, we received back a request for quote today from Benke Landscaping. We haven't had a chance to review that. Once we do, we'll take a look at that and share that with council. And then the design will be complete and the project will begin sometime this summer. The senior center sanitary improvement that was being done across the street is complete. It actually came in under budget as well, which we're grateful for. And the temporary tank should be removed hopefully sometime this week. And then Veterans Memorial Plaza, Mr. Selhertz alluded to this a second ago, but not only are the bulbs coming up, but the lights have finally been connected up there as well. So the flags went up today, marking all 6 branches of our armed services, as well as the American flag Ohio and POW. So I would encourage you to, I can see them from here, so I would encourage you to take a look at that here. It's a wonderful place of remembrance that hopefully will be around for decades to come. Our police department opened up their lateral transfer application portal today, and that will be open for the next 6 weeks. And we're hoping to hire 3 to 4 officers from that application process. As was already mentioned, but the home exterior repair grant program will get started in a couple of days, March the 13th. It is up to $3,000. This grant is highly coveted in the city. It's $100,000. $50,000 was put in by the city. $50,000 was put in by the county. And so I'd encourage you to get those applications in. We're able to help a lot of residents out the last couple of years with that. Then the other program we're excited to bring back this year is the Heritage Home Program. The city of Brooklyn was a part of this for many, many years, but we pulled away from the last couple of years because interest rates were already so low. Well, now that borrowing money has become more expensive, the rates at 5%, 6%, and 7%, as Mr. Mosley mentioned, that prices some people out of the market for borrowing money to do repairs on their home. Through the Heritage Home Program, it's a partnership with Key Bank. The interest rate is 2%. And that's a very low interest rate compared to what you get at the banks today. And this not only is for exterior repairs, it can also be for interior as well. And so there's information in the newsletter, as Ms. Grodick mentioned a second ago, about how to apply for that. And would love to see residents be able to utilize the Heritage Home Program this year in the city. It's a huge benefit, and again, interest rates only at 2%. The Hometown Hero banners, the city is once again doing those. You guys still have a chance to purchase one of those. The cost of that, it's a one-time cost of just $50 for that banner. There's no renewal, but the deadline for that is the end of this month, which is March 31st, and those will begin to be going up prior to Memorial Day. Then lastly, as I mentioned a couple of times, is Election Day, March the 19th. I would encourage you, the school levy is on there. Issue 21, I believe, is the issue for that. Dr. Claris and I have met numerous times about this. It's $20 million to help the high school portion of the building be renovated. That building was built in 1957, I believe, and many parts of it are the original. It needs to be updated. They need about $56 or $58 million to do all that they need to do. This is $20 million that they're asking for the residents. They plan on doing the rest of it by instituting in their yearly budget. And so I would encourage residents, if you're able to afford this, this increase in your property taxes, to please vote for issue 21 to help the schools do the various repairs and upgrades they need to do. And that's all I have. So back to you, Mrs. Grodick.
Thank you. I neglected in between meetings to ask directors if anyone had a report. I see shaking of heads. Okay. We will move on to legislation. First, we have old business. We have ordinance 2023-40, which is on second reading, enacting Chapter 157, Inclusion and Belonging Commission of the Codified Ordinance of the City of Brooklyn. We spoke about it briefly during Committee of the Whole. Does anyone have anything else they would like to say about it? Okay, next under old business is ordinance 2024-4, which is on third reading for adoption this evening, an ordinance vacating Manila Avenue. Is there a motion for approval?
Move to adopt.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Mary Jo, will you call the roll?
To adopt, Stephen Coyle.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Matt Mosley.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes. And then under new business, we have Resolution 2024-3, which is on first reading with a request to suspend the rules due to the timing of the contract. So let me read it first, sorry. Authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Simvase LLC to provide information technology professional services to the city of Brooklyn. Mayor, you gave some comments during Committee of the Whole. Do you want to?
Sure. So this is not a cost increase from last year. It's $7,916.50 monthly service fee. The contract does expire on March the 14th, and so that's why we need to pass by suspension of the rules. Simvay does an outstanding job. They've been a great partner with the city, and so if council agrees to approve, I would hope to keep their services for another year.
Introduced by all to suspend the rules.
Second.
To suspend the rules, Stephen Coyle.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Matt Mosley.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes.
To adopt, Stephen Coyle.
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Matt Mosley.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky.
Yes.
Sue Grodick.
Yes. And then last under new business is ordinance 2024-8, which is just under first reading, so I'll just be reading the title into the record. Amending section 110503, general fence requirements within the planning and zoning code of the codified ordinances of the city of Brooklyn. Did anyone have any questions or comments now? All right, since I don't see anybody moving towards it, we will move to the second public session. If anyone in the audience has anything to say for the good and welfare of the city of Brooklyn, please step forward, state your name and address, and you will be recognized. Please remember to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less.
He's back. Hello, Victor Ardito, 7439 Outlook Avenue. Excuse me, Earl Bloom says hello to everybody. He'd really like to be coming, but it's not in things right now. I'm talking about this for a couple weeks now. The streetlights. I've been told through the grapevine and that's what Brooklyn agreed upon, and they're happy with it. Is there any chance we're going to do anything about it, or should I just shut up? We're not going to improve the streetlights that are going up. They're not as bright. Well, they're brighter, yeah, in one small area. Other than that, they do not light up as much. They do not light up just the street. Nothing behind it. I had a street light right, still have it on my tree lawn. It used to light up the front yard. It's dark as shit. And a couple people have come over and looked at it, and you know. Andy well knows, so should I just shut up? Is there a chance in hell that something's going to happen about that? And regarding lighting, it's very interesting. I'm in the automotive field. So I looked up headlights one day, the history of headlights in America. Very enlightening. And yes, the government was controlling quite a bit and still does. For years, all they could do was have the large 7-inch headlight on cars for, I don't know, 30, 40 years, don't remember exactly. They did a nice job, but that's all they could have. Then they spun off somewhere in the 70s. You go way back earlier, and I don't have a photographic memory, but it's interesting. For years, Europe had better headlights than us, but that's questionable now depending on what they have. Motorcycles is another thing. Years ago, I bought the first motorcycle was a Sportster back in the old days. And a Sportster has, I think it's a 5 1/4 or 5 3/4 inch headlight, which many motorcycles have. It is horrible to see going down a dark road or anywhere. Got a different bike, a Jap bike, had a big 7-inch headlight. It lit up the world. A lot of these new motorcycles, they have real nice headlights. Others, it's debatable. The government controls so much, and they do a horrible job on a lot of it. Just, you know, the safety factor alone on a lot of the cars. You get in an accident, the seat breaks loose, and it's a normal operation. And they're thinking about doing stuff. The mirrors on cars, a lot of the cars you get into, the mirrors are so small, but they look real nice. You can't see much out of them, and they wonder why accidents happen. And a lot of them don't have the built-in spot mirrors to help people. And the electric cars are getting shoved down our throats, and they've talked this year very heavily how they're not working. Hybrids, if you're going to do something, look into a hybrid. They've been working for years. Toyota has a heck of a lineup of hybrids that are working very good and much dependable. Person I know goes to college. Her dad leased her a Hyundai, great cars. She lives here and goes to down south, way down south. And the car doesn't make it there on one charge. She has to stop. So you're going to get electric, think it over real good, because they don't always do what they're saying. And a lot of them are backpedaling on how they're making it. I may have mentioned this before. At work, I get an electronic magazine comes through, The Buzz. At least once a week, there's a small article about, oh, we're coming up with a better battery. So they're not there, and they're not going to be for a while. So buy a hybrid if you're going to. If not, gas or diesel works great.
Thank you.
Kelly Crawl, 10523 Manoa Avenue. I don't mean to sound repetitive, but just a friendly reminder for Election Day. Issue 21 is the bond issue for Brooklyn City Schools. The money generated by this bond will be used towards much-needed upgrades and renovations at the high school and athletic complex. I believe the current administration has been very transparent and fiscally responsible and will continue to be so with these funds. Not to mention the school recently received a technology grant in the amount of $266,000. Now we can allocate those previous technology funds to something else on our list of improvements that wasn't previously considered within the $20 million budget. For anyone who wishes to tour the school and see how these funds will impact our improvements and upgrades, Dr. Collares will be hosting one this Saturday, March 16th at 9 a.m. I haven't had a student in the school for 4 years now, so for lack of a better term, I don't have a direct stake in the game. And even if I wasn't a board member, I would still support this issue as my interest and passion is this city. Strong schools, strong community. Technology upgrades, lab upgrades, modern renovations, and an attractive sports complex paired with the academic success and continued growth of the district will make Brooklyn desirable for new families and keep our current families rooted in this city. The Support Our Schools Spaghetti Dinner is this Saturday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come enjoy a late lunch after the matinee show of Little Mermaid or an early dinner before the evening production. Tickets are available at the door for $10, and there will be raffle baskets and 50-50. Thank you for your continued support as we move forward together.
That looks like all. Does anyone on council or the mayor have anything they would like to?
Yeah, I mean, I could just address the streetlights thing again. They're still making adjustments. Andy and I are actually meeting this Thursday to go over them. The streetlights are not going to light up people's yards like they used to. That was part of the reason why we went to the LED lights, was to avoid the light pollution. Some people you talk to love the fact that their yards aren't lit up. Some people you talk to, Mr. Ardito, one of them, hates the fact that their yards aren't lit up. So you can't please both sides. But the streetlights are designed to light the street and the sidewalks. There are areas where they're not doing that, which is why we're continuing to work on it. We have a list of, I don't know, what, 15 or 20 locations that we're working on. So we'll keep working on it until we feel that everything's done correctly.
Anyone else? Could I have a motion?
Second.
To adjourn, Stephen Coyle,
Yes.
Andy Selhertz.
Yes.
Matt Mosley.
Yes.
Aaron Borowski.
Yes.
Kevin Tansky. Sue Grodick.
Yes.
Thank you.
She couldn't beat the 28. It wasn't going to be.